How's it not your mess? Let's get started. So we left off last time with Christian absolute bodying Conqueror. So moving on to the next one. Basically, every match will go to the same, like I said yesterday. So, when he gets back, he goes straight to sleep. He goes, ah, yes, I can't wait to sleep. In the morning, he gets a knock at the door. He says, what the? He sees a box. He says, oh, a package. I didn't order anything, but whatever. He takes the package into his house and opens it up, and he sees a curled up blue and black fireball thingy, and he says, what the? And then he goes, what the heck is this? He picks it up and holds it up, and he says, whoa, this is a blue fire cat on a cat. He reads and says, this is Maratabi, the Two Tails. It's in his little baby form because we can't really fit it in our village. You will take care of it. The Hidden Cloud has sent us this since they already had the 8 tails and it's a little overpowered. I'm kidding, the Hidden Cloud would never do that. I'm just gonna say that they gave it to him. He's like, cool. So can you talk? He says, you're a tail beast. You could probably talk. He says, meow. Meow 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 meow. And I'm like, no, I'm kidding. So he goes, hello, I'm Mom. She goes, I don't know what the gender is. It goes, hi, I'm Matatabi. Nice to meet you. He says, aw, you're so adorable. He says, can I see your true size? He says, we must go into a forest then. He says, okay. So they head to a forest, and Matatabi gets huge. He says, oh god, you're not as big as Isubu, but goddamn, you are huge. He says, so do you be like sealed inside of me or something? But then I just open the seal so it's like you're normal? He says, yeah, just do that then. I don't care, man. Wait, why you gotta be so mean, bro? And he goes, okay, you tail beasts are confusing me. First Isubu acts weird, and then you. He says, what you gonna do to me, man? Like, what did I do to you? I'm kidding. I'm getting this way too terribly. He says, alright. So after a month of training with Matatabi, learning fire style, because he actually has to learn it to do, and I'm gonna screw Hagoromo and tell him to shut his mouth, because I'm giving Matatabi the Two-Tails Chakra mode, because I don't give a crap. He says, well, I guess I'm gonna replace Demon Hunter with the One-Tail Cloak. So when he goes into his two-tailed form, because I don't know Matatabi's like nickname, when he goes into his one-tailed state, he says, whoa, this is mad easy. He doesn't even need to try. His eyes turn yellow and green, and they're slit-like. He goes, ah! He goes, alright, so his first matchup is nature. He says, well, this is just dumb. I'm facing the weakest person in this entire exam. He says, what did you just say? He says, bruh, I will clap you so hard that the leader of your clan will literally regret making you the successor of the Hyugas, even though you're not even that. You're so weak you can't even do that. A 5-year-old can beat you. Hanabi can beat you. He says, Lady Hanabi can never beat me. And stop calling everyone. And he says, and stop calling everyone lady. Sir. It's annoying. You don't shut up about your little royalty about being the Hyuga. Why don't you just fight, you idiot? He says, you dare disrespect it. And then he gets punched in the face saying, shut up about the Hyuga. No one in this entire stage cares. And he goes, how disrespectful. And he says, bruh, you say one more word about the Hyuga and I will absolutely murder you. He says, the Hyuga, and he gets absolutely sliced. And he says, shut up. Then appears right next to Neji saying, wah! With his teeth wide open saying, cat fire punch. with blue fire in his head, he punches Neji into a wall. And he says, I don't want to... He says, hey, Maratabi, should I use the cat fireball? He says, no, never use that. He says, only for in a dire situation. He says, fine, God. But that Gaara kid has Shukaku, doesn't he? He says, how are you that intelligent to know that? He says, did you just call me dumb? He says, duh, you're 11. You're 13. Oh yeah, some reason I don't get it. Boruto literally went to the academy when he was like 11. Yet Naruto went when he was like 4 years old. That makes absolutely no sense. Maybe Boruto has been going to the academy, but we just don't know it. Boruto could have been going to the academy. That would make sense. For a long time, but just not trained under Shino. Whatever, let's just get started. So he'd say, what a waste of a Hyuga. He'd say, Maratabi! They say, what the heck is a Maratabi? Fire style, cat fireball! A blue fire, it absorbs the ring, like engulfs the ring and absolutely obliterates Neji. And then he says, have a little bit of coolness. Creates Todoroki's ice spikes. I'm just gonna call it ice spikes. Creates ice spikes piercing through Neji. Not killing him, but devastatingly injured. He says, what a waste of talent. How about I just kill you now? He says, and then his hand turns purple. Not his hand, like lightning, purple lightning starts to swirl around his hand. He says, Shiden! And punches through the hole even harder, saying, with Neji on his elbow. Like, Neji's stomach is on his elbow, and he says, ew, get off of me. Shiden! And then he says, hey, Maratabi, give me all your chakra. As much chakra as you can spare. He says, okay, what are you going to use it for? He says, you'll see. He uses it, and then he just holds down the sheet, and he goes, ah! He says, if that keeps on going on, Neji will be turned to dust. And the announcer says, stop. He drops Neji and says, and Neji is burnt. He has third-degree burns everywhere, he says. Wow, Neji, you're weak. That was boring. Every other match would go the same until Sasuke's in Naruto's, because Sasuke isn't fighting Naruto, he's actually fighting Gaara. So basically, basically, everything would go normal except when Gaara, Christian say, Shiden! What? What's your kid number? What? He says, Shiden! Boom! Breaking through Gaara's shield, and they say, that kid's interfering. He says, I'm trying to save you all so he doesn't transform, you idiots. He's gonna transform into a tail beast. Ah! He says, dang it. He says, summoning jutsu. But then nothing happens. He says, oh yeah, I haven't made a contract. And releases Maratabi. They say, a two-tailed beast. He says, no, Maratabi. And he says, crushing Gaara's sand thing, picking his sand ball up and crushing it. Then cutting up into little pieces, then saying, and grabbing Gaara, saying, I will literally destroy you right now. He says, Shiden! And puts it in his hand, right next to Gaara's face, saying, this will end you right now. This will kill you right now. And then drops, and then jumps so high up in the air. Puts Gaara in Maratabi's mouth. Like, him like left and right. Gaara's still showing, then goes and they dive bomb down. They're probably about 20,000 feet in the air. And he says, Shida! Slams Gaara 26 feet under, saying, they say, jeez, Gaara is bleeding. He says, no Konoha crush for you, MFers. They say, we're gonna have to kick that ninja out of the village soon. He is too dangerous. You could literally kill everyone. They think about that, but then they regret it. So basically when everything is normal, he heads back to the mission. They say, you're being kicked out of the mist. They say, why? For what you did at the tuning exams. You almost killed a Hyuga. You almost killed a Sand Village ninja by summoning Maratabi and slamming them down 20,000 feet. So in other words, get out of the mist. He says, fine, but I'm taking Isobu with me. He takes Isobu with him and seals him inside, saying, Maratabi, you got a new roommate. He says, oh hey Isobu. And he walks out of that village. He says, where can I live now? He sees two people in black robes walk up to him saying, are you the 2- and 3-tailed Jinchuriki? He says, yes, I am. Why? Why do you need to know? He says, we're hunting down tailed beasts. He says, well, you're not getting mine, boy. He says, you're gonna give that to me. Okay, then we'll take it by force. He says, lay one finger and you're all dead, and the 2 of you were dead. It's Kisame and thing. It's Kisame Hoshidaki and Itachi Uchiha. He says, wait a minute, hara. Itachi Uchiha? He says, how do you know me? He says, you're a famous rogue ninja when I know you're not. He says, don't expose my secret. I don't want anyone to know. He says, then don't take away my tail beast, goddammit, I'm gonna die if you take it. He says, yeah, that is true. How about, I have an idea, Itachi. Shut off Kisame's communicator, or whatever thing he uses to communicate, and absolutely murder him. That's a good idea. He says, well, that is pretty smart. He says, he rips off his thing and puts on his Anbu outfit, saying, I will return back to the leaf. He says, can I come? So they fight Kisame, actually killing him, saying, he says, what are you doing out here? Why'd you leave your village? He said, I was kicked out. He says, why were you kicked out by your own village? That's kind of messed up if you think about it. Yeah, well, do you know the tuning exams that happened this year? He said, yeah? You were in it? He said, do you know that kid that turned into the 2 tails? He says, yeah, that was me. And also the one who almost killed the Hyuga? Me. He says, we can return back. Let's just go to the Leaf Village. So they walk to the Leaf Village. 5 days later, arriving to the Leaf. He says, they immediately rush to the Hokage's office saying, hey, Lord Hokage. He says, Itachi, what are you doing here? He says, I am no longer joining the Akatsuki. I am no longer in them. I'd like to return. He says, that is fine with me. Just stay under cover. He says, who is this young shinobi? He says, yo, I'm Christian. He says, wait, you? The one who almost killed the Hyuga? He says, he had it coming. He says, okay, look, that's not an excuse, but I will allow you to stay. He says, I'm gonna need to be on a team. He says, oh yeah, young man, I forgot to say, you are promoted to a Leaf Chunin. He says, really? I'm actually a Chunin? He says, yes. He says, alright, yo, Itachi, you want to be a 2-man team? He says, sure. They bump fists and say, yeah! So they say, the third Hokage says, Kakashi, please keep this under radar. He says, yes, Lord Hokage, what is it? Itachi Uchiha has returned to the village. He says, Itachi, didn't he slaughter the clan? He didn't. He was ordered to do that because Uchiha was planning revenge on the Leaf. Do not let Sasuke, Naruto, or any of the Genin, or anyone in the village know that he is here. Until he's fully trusted, he will be in the shadows. He says, okay, Lord Hokage. He says, Christian says, So they move into a place. It's pretty big. They're like roommates. He says, yo, we're finally here, God. He says, first we gotta call rolls. He says, what do you mean rolls? Who's doing who? Like, who's doing the laundry? Who's doing all that crap? He says, Christian says, Itachi, I've heard you're a pretty good cook. You do the cooking, I'll do the cleaning. That's all. He says, fine. He says, alright, now we are roommates. He goes, alright, tomorrow we have a giant mission from Lord Hokage. So when they arrive, Itachi has to transform into a random ninja. And they say, in Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, then they say, Christian, is that you? And he says, yeah. He says, what are you doing here? He says, I was banished from the mist from almost killing Neji Hyuga and almost killing Gaara. He says, oh, you had that coming. He said, yeah, I had it coming. He says, who's your friend? He says, he just ignores and says, hey, why'd you ignore us? He says, you two whisper is to kill 5 ninja, kill 5 rogue ninja, and bring their blood to us to show that mission. He says, they are rogue ninja that have attacked the leaf. You must do this. Christian, you would like to become an Anbu member, right? He says, I'm down. I'm down to become an Anbu. He says, you don't think things seriously, do ya? He says, nope. He says, oh, you're hopeless. He says, oh, I'm hopeless now. Man, get up here, man. We gonna scrap. He says, before being held back by Itachi, saying, fine. We have to think you a code name, though. Because we can't keep on calling you Itachi. I can't keep on just hiding your name. He says, how about you call me Robust? I'm kidding, it's dumb. He says, why don't we stop with this and not go with Naruto and Sasuke there? Use your Sharingan to see if they're there. He says, that's a good idea. He says, and puts them all into a genjutsu to forget everything that they just saw. He transforms back into Itachi and says, let's go. They go on their mission. Christian says, this is a great one. They encounter the first rogue ninja, Hidan and Kakazu. He says, why are we facing Akatsuki members? He says, look, Amaterasu! And burning Hidan, saying, don't remove the flames. Christian says, going into his Demon Hunter, plus Ice Kick Genkai, plus Maratame and Isobu Chakra mode, which is basically the same strength as Rinnegan Sasuke. Slicing right off his head and saying, Akaman, boom. And then he says, the only way to kill Kakazu is to seal him or to destroy his 5 hearts. He says, disappearing, going right and punching right through one of his hearts, saying, water style rippling, rising core ripple. He's using Yagura's move, breaking 2 more of his hearts, then saying, he's only got 2 more. He says, Hidan is about to get his blood. Christian say, nope, and spin around and kick him to the ground, then saying, yo, aren't you still burned? Why are you still here? And then he says, rising core ripple again, hitting him. And then he says, rough sea plume, turns into Isobu, wrecking him, saying, well, that's all your heart's down, buddy. Now time to fully kill you. He says, purple lightning starts to stream around him. Then he says, He says, wait, Christian, throw some shuriken. He says, demon wind, shuriken, shadow claw jutsu. He says, Phoenix Flame, Scarlet Claw, Fire Style, Phoenix Flame, Scarlet Claw. Lighting on the Demon Wind Shuriken's on fire. Then he says, Shinan! Electrocuting through him, going, boom! Cutting right through him, saying, saying, well, that was fun. We killed them both. We still got 3 more. I don't know, our paper bombs start to come out, and he says, Uchiha style, Shuriken Jutsu. He says, how do you know that? He says, look, it ain't that hard to imitate. And he throws them, hitting Konan, but it doesn't do anything. He says, you're not on our target list, so bye. He says, but you have the 3 tails and the 2 tail. Give it to me, surrender. He says, wait, Itachi? He says, I betrayed the Akatsuki, because I'm not here for your Yahiko and that masked man are tricking you. She says, don't believe that masked man. Tell Yahiko is what? Tell Pain that he's using them just so he can get to Madara Uchiha's goals. He says, what the? He says, okay, I will tell Yahiko. They run off and they say, we're gonna have to hunt down more Akatsuki members. He says, so they hunt down more Rogue Ninja, saying, whew, we did it. We killed all of them. Now back to the leaf. Wait, we gotta get blood samples. He goes from Kakuzu's body and slips it, and so does Hidan's. Itachi does the other 3, saying, whew, that was easy. They head back to the leaf, and everyone's like, is that Itachi Uchiha? They say, don't hurt us. He says, guys. He gathers up a whole, 100 leaf villages, shinobi, and says, guys, he is not bad. He was ordered to kill the Uchiha, so there was nothing there. So there was, by the 3rd Hokage, so there was no war between the leaf. Would you want all your loved ones to die because the Uchiha was still alive? They say, no. So they all calm down and say, please keep this a secret from Sasuke, Uchiha, and Naruto, Uzumaki, and Sakura Haruno. Please keep it a secret from all of them, actually. They say, okay. It's kind of like the secret of the 9 tails. He says, oh, what a waste of time for me. Whatever, guys. Basically, he says, so, yo, Lord Third, what mission do I have to do to become a Nambu? He says, you must do 100 B rank missions. He says, what the? B rank? B rank, my guy. B rank. You're asking for a little too much. He says, whatever. So Sasuke wouldn't go rogue. Well, Sasuke wouldn't. So then, after about 5 months of doing missions, he says, Lord Hokage, I'm pretty sure it's about time I tell Sasuke I'm really here and I'm not bad. He says, okay. He says, alright. You will do it, young man. He says, they knock on Sasuke's door and Sasuke sees Itachi. He says, tries to punch him. Christian blocks his punch and says, calm down, we have to talk first before you even try to attack him. He says, fine. When he comes in, he says, Itachi's not a bad guy. It's the one who has to kill is Danzo. That's the guy who who ordered Itachi. The 3rd Hokage was in it, but the 3rd Hokage did it because he didn't want Civil War. Danzo did it because he wanted everything, because Danzo hated the Uchiha for no reason, so the target is Danzo, so don't even get close to Itachi to kill him. He didn't do this. What would you rather have? All your clan dead by the leaf, or just all the clan dead, and you dead by your brother? Would you rather have you dead and your entire clan dead by the leaf, or would you just have you alive and your brother killing the entire clan? Because the Yellow Flash could easily have wrecked. If the Yellow Flash survived, none of this would have happened. Which we're just blaming Madara Uchiha for. So just don't do anything. He says, fine, not fair. And he goes, why are you acting like a complete baby, Sasuke? He says, And he says, what a brat. And he goes, whatever, I don't even care anymore. This is kind of dumb. So he says, Sasuke would, you want to work with us? We're also going to need Naruto, too. And I hate to say this, but we kind of need Uselessness's help. He says, who's Uselessness? And he says, you know, Sakura. He says, oh. He says, yeah, she's pretty useless. She hasn't done anything in the last 5 missions. She basically cried for the last 10 missions. He says, idiot. Now, I don't even know why or how she became a Genin. She's probably the dumbest Genin I have ever seen. He says, you're not wrong, but you're also not right. He says, He says, so after a year of training, Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, Christian become Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura become Chunin, while Christian becomes an Anbu. And he says, "Woohoo! Itachi, I'm an Anbu." He says, "My Anbu sword is this." Now let me see if I can add Isobu's and his chakra. He basically becomes the Tanjiro of Naruto, because he's got a water blade. Then he mixes the two and creates red and creates black fire. He says, "Yo, Itachi, you mind teaching me how to use black fire if I just mix water in this?" He says, "Yeah, that's completely impossible." He says, "Well, then I'm just gonna learn it." He says, "Focus on blue fire." He says, "Isobu, you're not for Anbu missions because I know you're not the type to want to kill." He says, "You're right." He says, "Manatabi will be the one to help me kill. You will just help me on missions." He says, "And also around the leaf, if anyone needs water, you can create water jutsu." He says, "Dang, you use us." He says, "No, I don't. You guys are just specifically chosen to be my..." So he unseals Isobu and says, "Alright, I've built enough trust in you." And he says, "Why are you..." And Isobu says, "Why are you kind of dark?" He says, "Yagura's blood." He says, "Oh." He says, "What jutsu do you know?" And he says, "I know the Reservoir Ripple, the Rough Sea Plume, the Water-styled Water Dragon, the Ice-style Ice Spikes, the Ice-style Ice Mirrors, the Ice-style Ice Lake, the Water-style Water Great Brazen, the Lightning-style Purple Lightning that I created, and the next move that I created was Lightning Style Lightning Palm, Lightning Style Lightning Stream, working on a brand new Purple Lightning Kirin, which is just like a giant purple lightning dragon, using that from the Water Dragon Jutsu technique. And for the last of my fire techniques, I know Fire Cat Hairball, which is the weirdest jutsu I've ever heard of. Right, Matatabi? And he says, "Whatever." And they go, "It's not my fault, I didn't choose these." He says, "Technically you did." He says, "Technically you did." He says, "Whatever." He says, "Guys, let's just go." He basically runs up and then he says, "Whatever, I'm gonna be using blue fire on my sword." He says, "I also need a summoning technique." He says, Yo, Itachi, what's up? What's your summoning jutsu?" He says, "And I actually don't know. I'm gonna say his summoning jutsu crows." He says, "Can I have those?" He says, "Sure." He gets the contract to summon so many crows with just a snap. He snaps and he's only about to summon 5 crows. He's also taught the bird cologne jutsu. He says, "Awesome. I am now the ultimate shinobi." He puts on his army mask, which is a wolf. He says, "Woohoo!" He says, "Whatever." After another year, Naruto and Sasuke become Anbu, while Sakura also becomes an Anbu a year later. They say, "We're all Anbu. Cool." He says, "We have to go hunt down the rest of the Akatsuki now." So after the 3 years, he says, "Alright, well, this is time that we get on with it." And that, guys, is the end of part 2 of Fun